Well, all right, everybody. Hopefully, there wasn't a glitch. There is a glitch in the internet tonight. And this show is going to be all about technology. We're traveling back in time on Gen X News tonight. Back in time to 1972. I didn't even exist. Actually, we're going to go even before that, but this documentary we're about to do a docu-stream of and analyze called Future Shock. A lot of people know this. It was very famous. It was based on a book written by Alvin Toffler in 1970, and this book took him years of compounding, and compiling information throughout the 1960s. And essentially, he's using the word future shock the way we would use the word culture shock. Like if you go to another culture and it's very different from yours and you experience a shock to your system, right? Because you're out of your norm. Well, with future shock, what Alvin Toffler was trying to say is you don't actually leave your culture. We stay here. It is this technology that comes waving in all directions, rapidly moving technology that puts humans in a state of shock because they can't keep up with it. It's very evasive. It can be very destructive. But I'm not going to go into the depths of it because this documentary will. I'm going to ask before we get there, though. Don't watch Tim Pool. Tim Pool isn't news. Tim Pool's a bitch. Come on now, guys. Watch me and go to genxonx.com and subscribe to all those platforms in which I'm live streaming on. It's right on the website. We are on X, YouTube, and Rumble right now. If you go to that website, you will see my Substack there, genxonx.substack.com. The link is right on the website. We also have a few subscribers on X right now. So if you are subscribing on X, you would know that you would have special posts for you and you would have an archive of e-zines. And I'm going to be doing more e-zines and live streams just for my subscribers. I just put out an e-zine archive on X the other day for subscribers for the week. So that's right on my X, which is at Gen X News on X. So you guys can go there. I thank you very much for showing up. I was going to do this stream on Jim Jones. There is a documentary out about him in the CIA, but I thought, you know what? I just had to give Jim Jones a rest. He was too dark. I thought I'd go for dystopian. Future Shock instead. Apparently, that's less dark than Jim Jones. So we're going to go there. It's also a fascinating documentary. Jerry, I am watching you. Thank you. Thank you. This is you. Sometimes I'm a news junkie too, but I'm not preferring. I stopped watching Tim Pool in 2020 because there's just something I just don't like about the way he runs things, and it felt like he was running a little cult there. It didn't feel like he was really running a news business. Also, you got to take a break from that every once in a while, and I'm taking a break. The news is crazy. We know it's going crazy. Everyone thinks it's the Democrats, but a lot of Marxists, they're organizing, they're playing games with Trump. Everything's going kind of wacko. Judges are trying to say that Trump can't do this and do that. He has to do this, and it's just getting crazy. Oh, Jer is turning 60 next week. The big 60 is one of our devoted watchers, and he is a guest on the show. He's going to Vegas. Wow. Have fun. Happy Vegas day. Go party hard. Go party hard for me, because I ain't partying hard anymore. All right, so let's take a pause here. I have the documentary. We're going to watch the actual 1972 documentary first, and it's hosted and narrated by none other than Orson Welles. If I have time, there's another follow-up show under Big Thinkers. I believe it's from the 90s, and it interviews Alvin Toffler. We'll check that out if we've got some time to see him updating. He might have some criticisms of Future Shock, or just say we were wrong about a few things, but I don't know. This is pretty darn close. This is pretty darn close. We've got Incognito in the room. We've got Jerry, Cthulhu, Jonocide. We have got Sean in the room. What do we got going on? Got some people. Hello to all the Rumble people out there watching. Remember, Thumbs up, guys. Share, subscribe to my channel if you're on Rumble. Follow me. Thumbs up. Hey, you guys who are watching, thumbs up that video. Thumbs up that video on YouTube. That apparently is going to help me. You know what? It is my own fault I'm blacklisted on YouTube. I used to get tons of views. It's probably my own fault because I just can't censor the way YouTube's algorithm wants me to. And you know what? I'm fine with that. I have to be me. All right. So we are going to start here. Before we get into this, for people who don't know who Alvin Toffler is, basically, he was an American writer, a futurist, some would say a sociologist, and a businessman known for his works discussing modern technologies, including the digital revolution and the communication revolution, with emphasis on their effects on cultures worldwide. Now, this guy has worked with major corporations. He's worked with IBM, Xerox. He's worked with NGOs. So I'm not sure if he's just telling what he's going to be or he's actually sculpting it into what it was going to be, working with all these corporations along. He passed away in 2016, so he's no longer alive. But this book, Future Shock, sold over 6 million copies in 1970. He worked on it with his wife throughout the 60s. And ironically, when this documentary came out, movies were coming out like A Space Odyssey 2001. So even back then, there was an analyzing of the technology and where it was taking us. And as soon as we watch this documentary, I think you'll see a lot of things that they're talking about then, we're actually not only talking about now, maybe even going through now. So was he predicting things and then making it happen by working with all these companies? I don't know. You decide. So I'm going to stop talking. Maybe we'll do it this way with me in the corner. How about this way? No, let's do it this way. I'll be in the corner so you guys can have a big screen to watch this on. No, that's as full as it gets. All right, here we go. Many of the concerns then are still relevant now, offers the interest and perspective to the issues we struggle with. And I'm going to have to do commentary and pause once in a while just to make it legit, so because you kind of have to do that. You can't just let it play like it's yours. Psychedelic 70s music. Kyle is actually religious Japanese. Is Pan Am even around anymore?
May I have your attention, please? Flight number 341 will be arriving at gate 7.
In the course of my work, which takes me to just about every corner of the globe, I see many aspects of a phenomenon which I'm just beginning to understand. Our modern technology has achieved a degree of sophistication beyond our wildest dreams, but this technology has exacted a pretty heavy price. We live in an age of anxiety, a time of stress, and with all our sophistication, we are in fact the victims of our own technological strength. We are the victims of shock.
We are the victims of shock. I just want to say I love how they have Orson Welles on here. I think it's very appropriate to have him hosting considering his past in Hollywood.
of future shock.
So, Jer and Mike, did you guys wear bell bottoms in the 70s?
Future shock.
I just asked if you guys wore bell bottoms in the 70s. Who wore bell bottoms in the 70s? Raise their hands.
Is a sickness which comes from too much change in too short a time. It's the feeling that nothing is permanent anymore. It's the reaction to changes that happen so fast that we can't absorb them. It's the premature arrival of the future. And for those who are unprepared, its effects can be pretty devastating. This is a friend's country house. Like myself, they're always on the move, so this retreat of theirs is mine for a while. You know, comfortable homes like old friends give us a sense of security, the feeling that some things at least stay the same. It's a feeling we need very much in this changing world. Every day we're bombarded by choices. We need to make instant decisions. We're in endless combat with our own environment, with all its pace and variety, its choice and overchoice. What do we buy? Where do we go? What should we think? The make, the model, the price, the pitchman's plea. Buy now. Keep up with the latest.
I was going to say, interject here, I don't think we realize how this mode of being with production has changed the way we are as humans. And this documentary will get into it, but we take it for granted. We're submersed in it now. But this idea of buying a new car and the latest model and have, and machinery was, and you know, probably something that came big post World War II. I mean, it was there all along producing stuff, but post World War II, you know, once the baby boomers were born and all that stuff, yeah, we take it for granted, but it's a major transformation.
Don't fall behind. The pre-cooked, pre-packaged, plastic-wrapped instant society, faced with so many choices.
And the instant society can be tied back to, you know, women now working and all our traditional roles being switched and manipulated on purpose, I will add.
So many decisions. And we have to make them so quickly. None of us can escape the pressures. That's what future shock is all about. Don't fall behind. Keep up with the latest. Buy now. Technology feeds on knowledge, and knowledge expands at a phenomenal rate. Throughout the world, more than 1,000 books are published every day, over 30,000 a month, 365,000 a year. A chemistry professor recently stated that he couldn't pass today's examinations because at least 2/3 of the questions require knowledge that didn't even exist when he graduated from Oxford in the early 30s.
And it's only gotten faster for us. Fortunately, we have faster access, but that the amount of information we have to process today is phenomenal. But, I mean...
This machine makes our lives move faster. Computers combine facts to make new knowledge at such high speed that we can't.
That's like all in our pockets now.
They affect not just the things we buy or the things we know, but the things we do. past, art was created for permanence. Today, instant art, fast, computer-created. Combinations which are changeable and, for the moment, beautiful. As old knowledge is replaced by new, and the pace of change accelerates, the young among us know of no other world. Today's little girl is learning a fundamental lesson. Man's relationship to things is increasingly temporary.
Miss, can I get a new doll?
You want to trade her in?
I mean, I would say that everything's always temporary. I mean, everything changes. It's just the rate at which it's changing and the level of technology. We have always had technology throughout human society and civilization that has changed the world, including agriculture, the printing press, fire, all of those things are technologies. It's just layered on top of one another. And where we're going now is just rapid pace. And this is 50 years ago, 53 years ago, guys. Think of that. He's predicting and launching this into the future, and we're there.
Yes.
Okay, I think we can give you $1 on that.
Okay.
Do you know which dollar you want? She says, Mama.
At least they're
You take it.
At least they're still observing gender roles and encouraging her to be a mama. That's all I can say. Well, I don't know what you guys think.
Yeah, I have 80 cents. No, thank you.
Even friends don't last. An early lesson in disposability. Nothing is permanent anymore. As we move toward a world of impermanence, buildings once made to last a lifetime are torn down. What is built must be easily dismantled, moved, adapted to momentary needs. Temporary structures for an impermanent way of life. Symbols of a transient society. The plugged-in, clipped-on, modular architecture of a society on the move.
Ugly.
Every year, some 36 million Americans strip their homes and move on, tearing apart communities, families, and individuals, creating future shock.
This is the last time I'll move, ever.
Moving on, but where are we going? No man.
Cue the 70s love song melody. That's what always bugged me about the 70s, is these kind of songs out of nowhere that seem to not fit at all.
This time we'll find a place to settle down and find someone that we can call our own kind.
The telephone directory is rewritten every day in an effort to keep track of the mobile society. Pages printed out by the computer. Additions, deletions, names, addresses, numbers. The rate of change reflecting the fact that where we live means less and less as we breed a new race of nomads. Few suspect how massive, widespread, and uprooting these migrations are.
Travelers to places never.
Yeah, this music just drives me nuts. It's the one thing I couldn't stand about the 70s. It drives me bonkers. Well, remember the 70s was a pretty dark era. I'll just add, like, the 70s was a high crime in New York City. I might actually review some documentaries of that. You know, you had all the sort of Clint Eastwood, Bronson films, you know, vigilante stuff. It was a crazy decade, and it only got worse towards the end of it. Lots of homeless children.
A generation reared on high speech, unlike their parents who settled in one place with one set of relatives and friends. Young people are on the move. Home is a place to leave.
Like the beautiful thing about traveling around the country or over large areas that you get to meet so many different people in different situations, you know, and like share experiences.
I hang around airports just to like the feel of getting away. And I just like the feeling of getting away. Getting away from like school and work and, you know, my parents.
Freedom. The loss of a sense of belonging.
You're a nomad.
On the coast of Spain.
You're like a techno gypsy. Techno gypsy.
On a Danish beach. Temporary encounters.
Checking up on a beat.
Just as things and places flow through our lives at high speed, so do people. Long-term commitments are not expected. Involvements are compressed in time. Young people embrace new values in an atmosphere of instant intimacy.
They're literally basically outlining they're all sluts. This is where everyone went hoe bag. This is where it all started. Technology's fault.
Everyone craves human warmth and closeness, especially today when relationships seem to be more and more temporary. What we're witnessing, of course, is the death of permanence. A new society is being created around us, built from the broken pieces of today. And those who people that society are going to live in a very different world. Future shock results from too much change in too short a time. Disposability of products and people. Thousands of people are alive today only because they carry inside them electronic devices, plastic parts, transplanted organs. On October 26, 1968, Carl Schaefer had 8 hours to live. A heart transplant extended his life, and he symbolizes the era of the disposable body. Dr. Samuel Kuntz, eminent among transplant researchers and surgeons.
To show you the progress that has been made in transplantation, in 1962, I was involved with a transplant program, and the one-year success rate was about 20%, using living-related donors. 4 years ago, the success rate had increased to about 70%. And at the present time, using living-related donors and kidney transplantation, the success rate is virtually 90%. There is an alternative, however.
No, I mean, there's a positive in all the, I mean, it's pretty normal for people to have transplants and liver transplants and stents in their hearts today. But you can kind of see where this is the beginning of a sort of transhumanism that probably is going to develop more and more as we become, I mean, and they're not even going through obesity and all the health problems and all the crappy food that we're going through. They're not going through it yet. And so this is the beginning. You can see the seeds. Women are working. No one's in the home. Everybody's moving about. Technology is making things go really fast. And medical technology is starting to develop. And it's kind of perhaps the seeds of transhumanism happening here.
And that is the use of artificial organs. And kidney transplantation, to a large extent, is made possible by the use of the artificial kidney. And I'm sure that an artificial heart will be developed. Temporary body parts,
products of bioengineering with the ultimate potential of building modular bodies, much as we now build modular homes. Research prosthetist John Bray.
I'm holding in my hand a prosthetic device for a below-the-elbow amputation. And this is a very highly sophisticated unit. It has electronic device controlled through the energy of the energy cells. And by placing the transducers over the musculature, we are able to send messages through the electronic system which operates the hand. In effect, it's actually responding to the motor control of the patient who wears it. In fact, at this time, there is hardly any part of the human body, and especially in the extremities, that we cannot replace.
An artificial elbow. One more step toward an artificial man. Joints, bones, sockets, sometimes better than the original. Replacing inner bones as plastic surgery replaces the outer skin. All stepping stones toward the temporary person.
I was going to put that forward.
This work raises the prospect of manipulating products we use and discard. This quaint English village, a remnant of permanence in a future shocked world, is the home
You don't want to know what England
neurophysiologist
looks
Gray
like
Walter.
now.
He's one of the many scientists leading us toward the ultimate replacement, artificial intelligence. 25 years ago, he pioneered the development of behavior machines.
This looks rather as though it was a child's toy, and I suppose it might be, but in fact it's rather a serious model of my ideas of behavior. And it behaves in a complex way, with all kinds of behavior modes, only having 2 elements, compared with our 10 billion in our brains, but its behavior is surprisingly complex. Now, you can see it hesitating a moment, and then avoiding that obstacle, and finding its way slowly and by a rather devious path, right into its hutch down here. And so, rather like us, it has a sense of priorities, although it's such a very simple toy, but not really just a toy, a model of behavior.
Descendants of creatures like those of Dr. Walter. Machines like these can see, hear, touch, smell. They can solve problems that would normally require human intelligence. Like simple living organisms, they respond to changes around them and act accordingly. We might one day duplicate man, his form, his body, his actions and reactions.
Hair on the back of your neck standing up yet? So they're doing this 50 some years ago, and here we are with the craziest advanced AI. Let's not even talk about the online AI, the cloud, the sort of Groks and the Chat GPT, and a lot of religious stuff is coming back at this, but here it is in its infancy, staring at us from 1972.
Carefully engineered for lifelike appearance. A diaphragm. A chest. A simulated breathing human being. This is Sim 1, developed for the training of anesthesiologists. It's a machine, a breathing, functioning, computerized patient.
I never knew this existed
As
in
the
the
pace
70s.
of technology accelerates, as the pieces are laid into place, the pattern seems clear. We might create an artificial man. As work proceeds on the brain, it may someday be possible to combine all the elements into a lifelike duplication of flesh and blood. The momentum is established. But the direction is up to us. Is there danger in the path we are taking? What happens to the definition of man? Who is he? What is he? Imagine the novel sensation of trying to determine whether the
I mean, these are very good questions. Who are we in definition to all this? What do we become? And we know there's this transgender stuff out there. And they get to that. They get to surgery and stuff, I'm pretty sure, in this documentary about picking even your race. Like they actually discuss these concepts of who we become and can we alter this. And I think we can try, and I think we see it, but I think we can see that it causes huge mental illness. And this is what's going on in our society today. Let's continue.
The smiling, courteous humanoid behind the airline ticket counter is a pretty girl or a transistorized robot.
Flight 21 to Dallas has been confirmed. Departure 2:30, arrival Dallas time 4:36. Boarding, gate 17A. Have a nice flight.
Into a future-shocked world in which machines and science cause changes that shatter basic institutions like church, school, family, a world in which nothing.
And this is being pushed by technology. It's being pushed by Marxists. And remember, the whole goal of Marxism is to kill capitalism. So it's a really bizarre thing that's going hand in hand with capitalism looking at this and all these corporations trying to take hold of creation and everything. But the Marxists as well, which hate capitalism, are trying to take hold of this because they believe that capitalism comes from family and having babies. And they want to destroy the binary, the gender binary. A lot of this gender binary stuff comes from Marxists. They want to destroy any idea of male, female, which is basically God. They're attacking God just so they can take out capitalism. And it's weird because capitalism seems to be reining in on controlling this as well. It's a very bizarre that you hear Marxists spouting some of this similar stuff to take out capitalism, but capitalism is reining in on this. So I'm not sure. There seems to be some bizarre intertwining here, but let's keep going.
Endures, not even motherhood. Dr. Charles Epstein researches the birth process.
An Epstein.
At the present time, it's possible for us to take mouse eggs, to fertilize them in the test tube, to reimplant them, and to have the birth of a normal animal, an animal which is capable of breeding and reproducing its own kind. While these things have been going on in the mice for quite a while, attempts have also been made and are now being made to do similar things with human eggs, to fertilize them in the test tube and to put them back into mothers, hopefully to lead to the delivery of a normal child. But of course all this raises very real questions. Assuming that a child so conceived would be born normal, there are of course the legal questions of who the parents would really be. But as far as I'm concerned, the overriding question is whether we as scientists should become involved with and should intervene in a process which is so fundamental to human survival.
Baby shopping. Imagine being able to program the IQ of a baby, to preset its sex, color, height, and other characteristics. Babytoriums, genetic supermarkets of the future, changing the very structure of the family.
The family. Traditionally, it's a source of warmth, comfort, security, protection from the outside world. But like most other traditions and institutions, the family is changing.
First thing is the marriage, I think. But you don't think so.
What's important to keep a marriage is to be able to pay the bills to take some of the pressures off.
No.
But the point is,
the point is you're sick.
And you're neurotic.
In our society, marriage is ideally based on love.
Okay, so these two people are not very good at communicating with each other. Oh boy, that was good. You're sick. That's not how you win an argument. That's funny. That is funny. Anyways, the root of the marriage is two people come together and having children. All the other elements are important to keep that going, but it's having the children. And of course, the first and foremost is you need to be able to provide. So guy was kind of right there. But anyways, yada, yada.
It is expected that two people will grow together, change together, and complement each other till death do them part. The likelihood that two people will grow and develop at the same rate becomes more and more remote, for rapid change places a heavy burden on the fragile thread of love.
Get yourself 4 other wives, 4 other mistresses, and be happy. That's all. I'll get myself some lovers and fine.
Wow. There you go. That's what the Marxists want. They want you to just bang everybody and kill the family. Exactly what they want. I don't know if capitalists want that, but Marxists definitely want that.
So I guess it's understandable that the institution of marriage itself is taking on new forms. A woman's face rarely reveals all the changes in her life. Recently, this woman made a controversial choice. She now lives with 3 men and 2 women in a group marriage.
I feel living in a group marriage situation that you are able to have closer intimacies than you do with just having friendships on the outside, because they're mainly acquaintances.
The concept of group marriage is an example of change in society's institutions. It is a result of loneliness in a world of ever more temporary relationships. And as the speed of technological change increases throughout the world, so too will experimentation with new family styles.
Hi. How you doing?
How are you? How are you doing?
Very good. Very good.
It
got
makes
some
you
kind of
realize that you have
funky
quite a
family
bit
thing
to
going
offer
on.
when more than one person cares for you. And you have a tendency to
These guys are definitely Marxist. They're doing that polyamory crap, and I guarantee you this does not end well. Goddamn baby boomers.
discover, much to your amazement, that you can love very, very much more than one person. Not equally, but in different ways. But you can really learn to care for other people.
There are thousands of homes like this in every part of the United States where couples are sharing their lives. Unfortunately, they have to be surreptitious about it. They don't dare tell their friends or neighbors.
Robert Rimmer and his wife of 30
And it's literally like crazy stuff in today. And we're seeing actually the consequences of this sort of laissez-faire idea about it today. We're actually seeing a whole lot of mental illness, and I don't think it goes anywhere good. Anyways.
years. He is a leading exponent of group marriage and has written influential books on the subject, like The Harrod Experiment and Proposition 31.
I have suggested group marriages is under the name corporate marriage, and I think what would happen if there was a legal form of group marriage or even bigamous marriage available, many people would immediately attempt it.
A middle class.
They're all going Mormon. Well, except for in Mormonism, it's the guys who get to have the polyamory, but they're going so bizarre.
Neighborhood in suburbia, USA. It could be anywhere. Germany, England, Sweden. It's a commune. 23 people, married and single. A different kind of family.
Well, it was a hassle. I've been electrical engineer, ex-technical writer. I've been married several times. I had a family, houses. It got to be a drag. I like it much better here. This is, for me, a great way to live. Relating to people, it's a family. It's a much better way than what I've been into for the last 15 years.
On mountaintops, in deserts, in sparsely populated areas around the world, young people seek escape from the hectic overstimulation of a high-speed society, forming primitive communes like this. They reject today by returning to yesterday.
yet another kind of marriage.
Tom, do you have a ring for Don? Would you place it on his finger and repeat after me? With this ring I thee wed.
With this ring I thee wed.
For as much as our brothers, Tom and Donald,
this is
have
obviously
consented together
okay.
in holy wedlock, and if with
So gay marriage wasn't legal then, so this isn't a real marriage, but they are doing a mock marriage, a gay marriage. So this stuff, see all the roots of the stuff that we're having issues with today. And when you change the distinction of marriage, everything goes in an upheaval, but the gender and the gender binary. That's the problem with all of this modern technology stuff. And the roots of it are right here in the 60s and 70s, where it's starting to slowly, out on the fringes, be presented to the culture slowly. And it's been several generations, and now it's being normalized to the extreme.
witness the same before God in this company, and thereunto have given and pledged their troth each to the other, and have declared the same by giving and receiving a ring, and by joining hands, I pronounce that they are married. Amen.
The setting for a quiet revolution. Part of a larger revolution affecting all our institutions, religion, education. The factory-like school is under attack.
I'm going to say this about these people in these kind of situations. They have the Marxists and these kind of fringe stuff. They have a subculture, and they appeal to young people because it's like no responsible, and they've got edgy style. Like there's a lot of edginess about these groups and Marxism. You should see the designs they design and they put out all over the college campuses. And there'll be a lot of people who will be pissed about Trump, and they'll get fired from their jobs. There'll be young people, and they'll go to these fringes looking for whatever, somewhere to belong or do something. And they're waiting there still today to scoop them up. So we shouldn't be so arrogant, because the Marxists are out there, and these Marxists aren't getting money from George Soros. They're literally self-funded. And these are the fringes here. And we really need our own, counterculture, subcultures of we're going to need it to contend with this AI that we're experiencing today, that is literally trying to eliminate our very humanness and the female and the male dynamics in the family. And I don't consider Elon Musk our friend either. I think he's pushing us towards this really gross, weird future. And, he literally has women artificially inseminated. That's how intimate he is. Like, it's creepy. And so I think we have to literally have, you got to have your Catholic subculture. Like, you got to start creating these subcultures that counteract this stuff and give the youth meaning back in their life that they've lost. And that's why they're going this way.
Education is in the midst of revolution, and like most institutions, the result is change. As public institutions change, so do accepted standards.
During the past 9 years, I've been a theater manager, and during the last 3 years, since the enactment of the motion picture rating system, we have found that X-rated films are very popular with our audience and very profitable to us. As a matter of fact, I've been arrested 3 times for allegedly exhibiting obscene films. I'll show anything that the public wants to see. If they want to see pornographic films, fine. If not, we'll show whatever they want to see.
Civil servants, teachers, and even policemen on strike. Another shockwave to absorb. The foundations of the old society crumble. Women strive for equal rights in numbers never seen before. The rejection of roles which have been dictated by tradition. The right to lead an independent life. Symptoms of a society that is cracking under the pressures for change. What was private is now public. What was condemned now strives for acceptance. The symptoms of society's breakdown erupt on a worldwide scale. We are living through one of the greatest revolutions in history, the birth of a new civilization. Collective protests shatter the structure of the old. Changes bombard our minds and bodies. We become confused, helpless, unable to cope.
We all live in turbulence, often silent, personal. But the result is the same, stress.
And I'll tell you, there's going to be more and more and more of these radical groups the more technology takes over and dehumanize us, because people are breaking down. They're going crazy. They don't know how to deal with it because it's this little thing called biology and I think a lot of times the reason fascist groups and all this stuff rise is because this system is trying to suppress our natural biology by calling it racist or saying we shouldn't be proud of our heritage, and they're trying to brainwash us against some natural tendencies in biology. And I think that's why people go crazy and they start getting aggressive into these groups. They're literally trying to feminize men, and they've done a good job of it because we've got a whole lot of pussies out there. They're trying to feminize men more and more and more. It is crazy. So we're going to see more extreme groups within the next 10 years, I guarantee you. And not just on the lefties, on the rights, well, left, right, whatever that means, but we're going to see different kind of factions, not just Marxists.
In 1969, it was reported that Dr. A. Nafek of the Soviet Academy of Science had predicted that the world would soon see a genetic equivalent of an arms race, that the world powers would soon develop genetic engineering capable of increasing the output of geniuses. Criticized for such an outlandish and horrifying speculation, he replied merely that the advance of science is and ought to be unstoppable. Not everyone, of course, would agree with that statement. Think of the...
That's interesting because we're going through science now that is basically not science, it's propaganda. And humans always have to step in the way and question. The point of science is not that it's unstoppable, it's that it's always reevaluated by people saying, hey, that doesn't work. And I think there's a little bit of arrogancy because they're looking at food science and health science, and our health actually starts becoming worse since the 70s. So there's a little bit of arrogancy about I think they might have thought they had certain areas figured out, but they didn't. And I don't know. We'll see. There's some interesting stuff about this. Science should be unstoppable. Well, what is science? It's the practice by, humans are doing science. So you can slow it down or speed it up. But yeah, like an arms race, now we have a race with AI. It's an AI race with China, with Russia, with all these people. If it's not nuclear weapons, it's AI. It's laser beams and crazy stuff.
Consequences. Genetics, computers, space, racing blindly ahead, causing the pressures of future shock to intensify. Scientists themselves are concerned. Psychobiologist James McGaw.
It's not now possible to produce the same kind of changes in memory that in humans that we've produced in animals. Such experiments are probably just around the corner. And whether the procedures are the same or different from the ones that we use, it seems clear that within a very few years, it will be possible to change memory processes in human beings through the use of drugs and electrical stimulation.
Let's
look forward to a period,
his mustache.
a number of years from now, perhaps when a person gets up in the morning and has to take the drugs to bring his IQ up to the appropriate level, slap on the battery pack so that whenever he gets depressed, he can press a lever and turn on electrical stimulation, which delights him a little bit, and find then...
I don't know, that looks like BDSM to me.
...that it's not just that he can do these things, which is enough to understand, but that he does do these things. Not that it's possible to gain control over intellectual functioning, but in fact that we have. And this person then, perhaps an entire society, will be seen as a victim of the success of biotechnology. That is to say that he no longer can exercise the choice to take the drug or put on the battery pack or whatever, but he's lost that choice simply because of the subtle and pervasive increase in the tendency to use it.
Technology and science, altering behavior, extending our control over mind and body. We wire the animal, we wire the human, and with every new step, the consequences for human life become magnified. The secret of life itself, the DNA molecule. A genetic discovery that could give man the ability to create life to specifications. With it comes the power to change evolution itself. Never have we had such opportunity, such awesome responsibility. The DNA molecule might very well turn out to be the most important discovery in the whole history of medical science. Not only is it possible to create life, but to recreate it. Considering present scientific knowledge, we may soon be able to create carbon copies of human beings. Imagine the implications.
Here's what I think. This is conspiracy theory, but I think they already could duplicate human beings. Maybe in a vulgar way, that they already had the science there, because they're showing you in this documentary. And one of the purposes of documentary, and remember, Alvin Toffler is big in with corporations, NGOs, all of that stuff. He wasn't just some independent guy, honestly. I mean, there's only... To get a book that big and to be this popular and to have Orson Welles, you got connections. You're in with the system. Maybe even Future Shock was, funded by the CIA. I mean, who knows what the goal is? But they're putting these stuff slowly in people's minds. Now, it may not have taken really big time then, but over time, we can see what's happened. And I don't know, there's all these conspiracy theories that Joe Biden had a body double. My husband told me one time someone showed him a video and he swears it was like a Trump body double, but this was decades. This was like probably 20 years ago. And so I'm wondering if they've not had this kind of technology for a while and they're just really fine tuning it. And it's we know they can do deep fakes, and they might even be able to do live deep fakes to fool you pretty soon that is Trump or that is Biden. You might think they live forever, and it's just a fake person being controlled by some system of who knows what. And it's kind of crazy, and it's creepy, and makes me want to live in a cave away from everybody.
To duplicate a human being genetically, down to the last detail.
Makes me want a cigar.
Cryonics. There's experimentation now with the possibility that a body might be frozen and revived. If the frozen traveler awakes, what will he find? The advance of science tempts us to speculate on the nature of the world which lies ahead. And the frozen time traveler, like all of us, looks to tomorrow with hope for a better life, a better world. Since time immemorial, we have produced fanciful images about future life. Imagined cities of tomorrow, urban centers, the megalopolis, a vista of towers, traffic, and computer-controlled planning. The spaceport, looking to the day when space travel is routine, when gleaming, elegant rocket ships carry us smoothly to new worlds.
Now, this is Elon Musk's thing, not only Neuralink, but I gotta wonder if Elon Musk isn't some kind of extension of a sort of future shock idea, or he's got contracts with the deep state and the military because he's developing all these rocket ships and he wants to get us to Mars. Good luck, Elon. I don't know if it's going to happen, but here it is. They are inspiring that we've got to do space travel. We've literally got to change humans to such a degree where we transplant them to another planet.
Naive images of cities, space travel, and other wonders may fascinate us for a time, but they may also mislead. Will the frozen time traveler wake up in a very different future? Is a future coming toward us that could shatter all our dreams? The future has burst upon us. The supersonic transport is subject of worldwide debate, forcing the question, is technology always desirable? Changes bombard our nervous systems, clamoring for decisions. New values, new technologies flood into our lives. The pressure of fast change forces us to question all we have been taught. Sometimes technology can destroy. An underground nuclear explosion. Amchitka, when will the next nuclear blast occur? And what will it do to us? Escape from change in today's society becomes more and more impossible. Change is necessary, but change itself is out of control. That is the challenge posed by...
That's the thing. It's out of our control because of a group, a rather small group in compared to the rest of us, of people who are controlling it. But everyone's like, well, where are they? Who are they? Where is everyone? What is this system? And it's hard to put into context. If anyone in the audience has an idea of who they are, their system, some people say it's a group of families. Some people will say it's demons. But there is obviously something driving this. And as an individual, because we're not as well organized as whatever this group is, I don't know, the Vanderbilts, the Bilderbergs, the Rothschilds, the whatever government, but because we're not as organized and strategic as this group that's running things, we just feel like we're lost in a sea and we're just flowing with the change, which is, really accurate, because what can we do? There are things we can do and resist this and keep up our traditions, but some of these changes are so big, like your job, your economy, your food supply. What do you do when that's going a certain way? You're going to do what you can to survive. That's a human instinct. And they're pushing us in a way that is more and more controlled, surveyed, less human, less binary, no family. It's very Marxist, but at the same time, I think Marxists and capitalists share some they share some of the same values, the same goals, but they have a different outcome. Like the philosophy that drives them is different, but they're doing some of the same tactics, which is really interesting.
By future shock, to look deeply and clearly into today's world, to understand the consequences that what we do today determines what tomorrow will be.
Funky Lebanese music. Let's go for it.
Spreading among young people throughout the world.
If we can recognize that industrialism is not the only possible form of technological society, if we can begin to think more imaginatively about the future, then we can...
So Alvin Toffler is really predicting leaving the Industrial Revolution and merging into sort of like this communication revolution that we see today, although we still have industry out there. And I don't think it's just going to die. I think the idea that we don't need it is probably untrue, because we always need resources to create things. But I think the idea is a global system that they're doing right now, where certain areas do certain parts do certain jobs, and like North America is like the information. Yeah, there's certain areas of the world and they will do certain jobs, and that just totally destroys, because there might be people who live there who don't have that as a talent, and they have to move and change their lives and be flown to different places, or they might be obsolete and taken over by robots and AI.
Can prevent future shock, and we can use technology itself to build a decent, democratic, and humane society.
We're a
Don't
republic.
you think education should make people aware of the danger of technology instead of making them adapt more easily to any kind of progress and technology?
Absolutely, absolutely. That we can no longer allow technology just to come roaring down at us. I think we must begin to say no to certain kinds of technology and to begin to control technological change, because we've now reached the point at which the technology is so powerful and it is so rapid that it could destroy us unless we control it. But what's most important is that we do not simply attempt to act, that we simply do not accept.
The issue we're in now is we could stop certain technologies, but other countries are going through with it, just like China is going through. They're developing tons of things, just like they're using tons of coal. So any of our goals that we put out there are just being undone by China, or we have to actually now keep up with China. So we have to race into this dystopian future, or at least we feel we have to.
Accept everything, that we begin to make critical decisions about what kind of world we want and what kind of technology we want.
Our children.
Mama and the baby.
Will we save them from future shock?
No, we didn't.
Or are they destined to suffer the same illness that rocks today's society? The direction.
I don't know if we'll see in a few seconds, but the way our children are going is they're becoming more immersed in a virtual world. They're actually become used to it because they don't know what my grandmother grew up with, which is playing outside in nature. You know, they're immersed in all this technology. It seems normal to them. Although, hopefully, biology will kick in and say otherwise.
We choose have consequences not merely for us. The choices we make will determine the future of their world. There is still time.
Okay, yeah, they're all old now. All those people. There's all person. All right. So we're done that. I'm going to watch just a few minutes of the other documentary so you can actually see Alvin Toffler, and he will tell you a little bit. It's 20-some minutes long. We're not going to watch the whole thing. Let's check it out. Let's put it into the big mode, and we will check it out and see what Alvin Toffler has to tell us. Here we go. Here he is.
To find out who are the people that are changing or will be changing our lives in the years and decades ahead.
It's a wonderful age on a beautiful stage demonstrated for you.
So this is Big Thinkers, Alvin Toffler, who is a futurist, a sociologist. And by the way, Alvin and his wife, they worked in factories and manufacturing after he had his degree. So they've worked in jobs that weren't necessarily always, being a big thinker. And a lot of these sort of philosophers or people like Karl Marx, they based a lot of the things off of experience. And we all work in these companies and we have an experience, either good or bad, of them, and see problems with them. And I mean, I see problems all the time working in corporations. It's so crazy. So he probably, with his education mixed with working in manufacturing and these kind of companies, have developed, and knowing technology and working with other corporations and being a futurist, I don't know if he's insightful and knew what was going to happen, or he's actually taking everything in the now and looking at what is and really projecting forward. And we're just sort of doing, these companies and these NGOs are pushing what he's saying and making it happen. I'm not sure. Chicken or egg kind of thing coming first.
Been created for you. It's just a part of...
Let's go forward a little bit here.
It's like secret knowledge because nobody else got it. It occurred to us that when you go to a foreign culture, you're bombarded by strange cues, by visual and sound and other inputs that may be different from the ones in your own culture, and that are hard for you to understand, and some people get truly disoriented and upset, and the sociologists and anthropologists call it culture shock. What happens if a new environment comes to you, where you are, and comes to you rapidly, so that you don't understand its inputs, its cues? And the answer to us was, if you can have culture shock by relocating to another location in space, you could have future shock by, in effect, relocating in time. A future comes towards you that you don't understand.
Okay. So that's a little clip of him explaining to you what he meant by future shock. I'm going to put that out here and we'll pop back up into the big screen. That was essentially Future Shock, the documentary. There is a book. You guys can go. I'm sure you can get a used copy. I'd be surprised if it was out of print. Let me see here. Future Shock. I would be shocked if Future Shock was not available somewhere. I mean, you can get it on Audible. You can get it on ebook and audiobook. If you like the physical copy, I'm sure there's something out there, but it was a big book back in its day. And let me see if Amazon has the actual physical copy. Yeah, I think they do. So they have a Kindle, mass market paper. So you can get it. It's still available out there. But it's him predicting these futures and looking at technology. And as you can see, the stuff we're experiencing today was there. All these future concepts were well on their way, and they were being explored, experimented with, and impressed upon people. If you go into neighborhoods in the 70s, you realize crime was high. There was a lot of problems that were lingering and coming out of all of the changes that were happening from the 60s and 70s post-World War II. And of course, those things were rectified. New York did get better. Things were getting better, but we still have, we have so many issues. And I mean, when we look around our landscape today and we realize how much corruption has happened, how much these politicians are spending money on crazy propaganda all around the world. You just look at USA aid. I don't know what the hell they call it. The USA aid. I don't know. But lots of money is being spent on ridiculous stuff. And these things are the arms of the CIA. And we're basically slaves and paying taxes for all these institutions to use us and drive all this crazy stuff. And the idea of a nice, clean technology that helps the people, I just don't think is realistic because of all these institutions and deep states that do things for profit and greed. And, that's that essential element of human nature to when you get into those positions of power and you have to deal with so many other people who are like that. I don't have faith in the technology. That's why I think it will do us harm. And it's going to be used as a control system, not as a system to help us, not as a system to make us more free, but as a system to monitor and control us. And that's my big thing with this AI and this future shock stuff. The shocking is going to be, we're going to become ultimately more rats in the cage than we've ever been before. And not quite the best thing. Look, guys, I have put links in the chat for the full version if you want to trip out back to the 70s or whatever. The full link, I just put it in the YouTube chat. I put it in the Rumble chat. I'll tap it up on my X after. You can go to Gen X on X news. Gen X on X news. That is Gen X news on X. That's me on X. There's too many X's there. It's driving me nuts. But you can, I'll place the documentary up there and you can tap into it, check it out. Next week, I may review some stuff with Jim Jones. I'm trying to get Ryder Lee on from Raised by Giants podcast. He's done the documentary Clockwork Shining. It's about The Shining and MK Ultra. He worked his butt off on it. It's available on Amazon Prime. I was on his show the other week. I'm going to see if I can get him on next week and get a couple more political guests on. I don't have anything scheduled. This is the only show this week. I have way too much going on that I have to get done and wrapped up. So, you know what, guys? Have a great Valentine's Day. I won't be around on Valentine's Day. We're going to have me and Mr. Incognito. We're going to have a fun Valentine's this weekend. I hope you guys do as well. Remember, visit genxonx.com. That's where all the links are. And of course, if you want to become a subscriber on Gen X News on X, I'm going to be putting content out for subscribers only. And let me know what kind of stuff you want to see, what people you want to interview. I'll try to get hold of them, try to get them in, we're going to be doing way more politics and conspiracy theory. I just felt like I like to do a time travel. If you know me, I love the 70s. I don't know, maybe it's because I was born in there, but I like to do time traveling and look back and see, what's going on here in this documentary? Was he right? Is it happening? And I find it astoundingly accurate, but perhaps that was always the plan. Perhaps they had these plans ongoing, and that's why it looks like it's so prophetic, because this was going to happen. They've all been pushing it, and we've just really been unaware. To us, things are just happening naturally, and there's a big plan, there's a big structure. And I don't know, maybe this isn't where he thought we were going to be. Like, he passed away in 2016, but here we are. AI is like, some people are equating it to demons. People are talking about the end of the world. People are talking more and more about, the Antichrist, and all of those contents are coming out. You see people trying to get more back into Christianity, because I think if you look back there and you see people were abandoning religion and faith back there, not the way, and here we are, where people almost have a longing and nostalgia. They want it back. They want some meaning besides constantly consuming technology. And the technology really isn't giving people meaning. They're just, consuming it to quell whatever's going on. There's no spiritual thing. And I also believe that's why we have so many cults, is because people are looking for something spiritual and to connect them. And in this technological modern era, we are less and less connected. I will tell you one thing. Families are less connected. Families, my family, they used to be together, do stuff with each other all the time in a less technological world, and that just doesn't happen anymore. It's like people are working here, going there, doing this. It's just split apart. So we shall see. I am going to end the show. I thank you guys for watching it. Check out those full documentaries. I've put the links in there, and again, I'll pop it up on X. Please join me next week. We're here Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I'm going to try to have a cool guest for you guys, and that's all I have to say. For now, you guys, I'm going to sign off here, and we will see you next week. Cheers and happy Valentine's Day. Bye.